Okay, let's talk about a strategy that is so powerful, and honestly a little counterintuitive, for how to actually get noticed in this ridiculously crowded world. It's a method that people use to get a real edge in everything from college applications to climbing the career ladder. And it all starts with one simple question I want you to ask yourself.
Just think about it for a second. Your resume, the skills you're trying to learn, your hobbies. Is the main goal to just be, competent, capable, well-rounded all over the place? I mean, that's what we're all taught to do, right? Cover all your bases, don't have any obvious weaknesses.
But what if that's the exact wrong thing to do? What if I told you that by trying so hard to be good at everything, you're actually just succeeding at being memorable in absolutely nothing? You might be designing the most forgettable version of yourself without even realizing it.
Yeah, this leads us straight into something called the well-rounded trap. It's this belief we all have that the best path to success is to be a jack of all trades. But you know the rest of that saying, right? A master of none. And that whole idea might be completely wrong.
This checklist, I bet it looks pretty familiar. It's basically the blueprint for the perfect student or applicant. Good grades, a bunch of different activities, gotta play a sport, do some volunteering, maybe a part-time job. On paper, it looks flawless. It's safe. It ticks every single box.
And that right there, that is the trap. Because when literally everyone is following the exact same blueprint for what success looks like, you don't end up with a masterpiece. You just end up with a huge sea of sameness. You become just one more solid, competent, and, let's be honest, totally interchangeable candidate.
So how do you break out of that? Well, there's a really powerful strategy, one the top institutions are actually looking for, that just flips this whole idea on its head. It's all about ditching that well-rounded ideal for something way, way more powerful. Okay, so let's just look at two profiles side by side. Over here on the left, we've got our well-rounded applicant, good at everything, but not really great at anything. Solid B+s all the way down. But then on the right, you have the spiky applicant, and their profile looks completely different. Maybe their history grades are just okay, and they don't play a sport. But they've spent 4,000 hours coding. They've built 2 apps that actually have thousands of users. They're a contributor to a major open source project. They have one single, undeniable, towering strength.
That is the spike. And look, it's not just a hobby. It's a singular, deep, and provable area of excellence that makes you pop out from the crowd. It is the one thing that people will remember you for long after they've forgotten your name.
But why does this work so well, right? Why does a single, jagged peak of true excellence cut through all the noise so much better than a high, flat plateau of just being good? Well, it all comes down to basic human psychology.
Let's just put ourselves in the shoes of the person you're trying to impress for a second. Imagine you're an admissions officer, or a hiring manager, or heck, even someone you just met at a party. After you've seen hundreds of these profiles, all the well-rounded ones just fade into this generic gray fog. But the spike, the person who built a robot, that creates a story. That sticks. Our brains are basically pattern recognition machines, but they're also super efficient. We just don't have the mental space to remember every little detail about everyone, so we create shortcuts. A spike acts like this powerful mental hook, a really clear, simple tag that makes you easy to categorize and, most importantly, super easy to remember. You're not just applicant 347 anymore. Now you're the robot kid.
And listen, this idea goes way, way beyond just a college application. This is a framework for building a career, a personal brand, a memorable identity in literally any field. It's about becoming known for something.
So how do you find yours? It really starts with a shift in your thinking. First, you have to identify your genuine obsession. What's the one thing you do when you're supposed to be doing everything else? What topic can you just get lost in for hours? Second, you have to double down on it, hard. Instead of spending all that energy trying to patch up your C+ in history, spend it taking your A in coding and making it world-class. That means entering the competition, publishing your work, starting the club that doesn't exist yet. And finally, and this is a big one, stop apologizing for your weaknesses. They are the price you pay for your strength. Your spike is what makes you valuable, not your lack of flaws.
Look, at the end of the day, the well-rounded path is safe, sure, but it's also incredibly crowded and, ultimately, forgettable. The spiky path, though, that's bold, that's memorable. It's about having the guts to be truly exceptional at one thing instead of just being acceptable at everything. So the real question isn't just, what's your spike? It's, what are you willing to be average at in order to be unforgettable?